What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to Park to Prem here with Town Law Town. Today it's episode 72, and I was caught in a few minds as to what screen to start on, but I felt like we had to start here on Dylan Turnbull's profile. Man, I am so excited about this kid. Obviously, came through the academy just last year. At the time, I thought he was something special. The more I see him, the more special I think he is. I've not promoted him to the first team yet, but at this point, I've really got to seriously consider it, I feel like. Just compare him to Dimitri Seyer, really not a great deal of difference between the players. But at the same time, he's playing so well for the youth teams, where we have him playing for both the under-23s and the under-18s. I don't really want to rush him into the first team if we don't need to, but definitely got my eye on him. So you might be wondering, Jack, what are the other screens that you were thinking about starting on? Well, this is the screen that I was thinking about starting on, because I've had I don't want to say a change of heart, but I've decided we need to go back. It's rewind time, baby. Yes, the 4-4-2 is back out in force. The 4-4-2 that, well, if you're joining this series midway through, you may not remember, but a system that was also just effective with us in previous years, and I feel like we've slowly ended up acquiring a squad to play it. So, in terms of why we changed off this system way back when and we played the 4-2-3-1, it was primarily because we were a weaker team in the leagues we were going into, and I felt like we needed the extra man in midfield just to, help out a little bit defensively, link up the play. The reality is now we are the favourites to win League One, and we've not been playing well enough, and I was thinking about different ways we could possibly change it, and I just thought, you know what? Let's go back to the 4-4-2. We'd lost 3 games in a row after last episode, and so we made this change immediately. I was like, time for change. Change has really worked well. Of course, last time we took on Bradford, we lost that game 2-1, which flattered us a little bit. We were very much the masters of our own downfall, and since then you can see we've played a lot of games. In fact, the month of November has largely been dominated by cup games, but in the league we have gone very, very strong. And well, we started off with a result against Coventry. Away from home, a 2-1 win. Yes, this was great. DKM with the first goal out on the left-hand side, and DKM has found some form, ladies and gentlemen. He's playing some of the best football he's ever played, and he is in the reckoning for a Democratic Republic of Congo national team call-up. We would love to see him make that. And well, you can see Leighton Stewart grabbed a goal in this game, which is always a good sight. We did concede late on, but it was merely a consolation. So a good win there. And the next game we had was against Afc Wimbledon, a team going very, very strong in the league. And well, as you can see from the scoreline, we tore them a new one. Yes, Dimitri Seyer and Molyneux started together up front, and between them they had 3 goals by half-time. Seyer got us off initially, a bit of a scrappy goal fell to him just out on the left-hand side and tucked it into the open net. Molyneux then with 2 really, really tidy finishes. He has been perhaps the best signing that we've made so far, whilst the likes of Diarra haven't really had the impact we've desired. Molyneux grabbed 2 here and has just looked very, very effective in the final third. And in the second half, we got 1 more goal. It was DKM again, and this is one of what is 4 games in a row where he has scored. So don't make any mistake. DKM he's definitely worthy of League One level. Anyway, we then took on Crewe. We beat them 4-1. Great result. DKM with 2 goals in this game. Molyneux and Shuttleworth with the goals. And then we went away to Hull City. Another game which we played very well in, and we ended up getting the win. This time a 2-1 win again. Similarly to the Coventry game in many ways, we got our noses ahead with 2 goals. The first through DKM before Needham grabbed another. Was a little bit unfortunate to concede a late goal via Joe Rulls' long-range effort, but this switch to the 4-4-2 has just seen us create so many chances. You'll notice it as we go through some of these highlights. Just in the bottom left, the number of shots that we are having is stupendous. We are bullying teams, and that's something we've not done in a while. And, well, that was the last of the league games we've played. So a good little recovery there. Not the best defensively, as you'll see in these next few games, but goals are flooding in, and that's something that, when we hadn't won in 3 matches, was very much a problem for us. So anyway, a little look at the cup competitions. In the EFL Trophy, we were already knocked out, so I played a pretty much fully rotated team. Not going to lose sleep over it. We lost 1-0, but I don't care. We then took on Gillingham in the FA Cup. We were 3-0 up in this game after 73 minutes. We conceded 3 goals in the last 10 minutes. Yeah, a collapse. Fortunately for us in midweek, we took them on away from home and beat them 4-1, which when you consider that they're a Vanarama National League side, that 3-3 draw is a tiny bit concerning, but it was good to see us return in the second leg and do well. You can see Kosic back in the first team, back from injury, getting goals. You love to see it. And while most recently we took on Chester in the FA Cup second round, Leighton Stewart with the only goal in this game, it hit the woodwork and crept in. I think the keeper will be disappointed to concede it. And with that result, we have now got a draw in the FA Cup third round against Birmingham City. So not the most glamorous of ties, but of course Birmingham City, a team who, well, just a few years ago were a regular friend of ours with pre-season friendlies. So it'll be nice to visit them again. But today, we're going to be looking at a game against Walsall. And I feel very confident going into this game. We've played 3 matches so far in episodes this season. We've not seen the team win yet, so I'm hoping that today against the team in second, we're going to do that. Just to look at the league table, due to the FA Cup replay and also an international kind of situation where we had players away on international duty and matches were postponed, we currently sit 4th in the league, but with 2 games in hand. If we could beat Walsall today, that would put us in such a great position in the automatic promotion spots. And that's what we're going to be striving towards today. You can see in terms of average ratings, Dazelle, Molyneux and Shuttleworth leading the way, all separated by just 0.02 points in terms of their average ratings as well. Of course, Molyneux and Shuttleworth have been out with injuries. They've come back into the team. They've done very, very well. And I have got a bit of a pickle, folks, because Shuttleworth and DKM have done so well in the wide areas that Kosic has come back from injury and I'm just not really playing him. Which I feel a bit bad about, but I don't need to rush him back to full fitness. And I kind of feel like when you look at their attack force and their form in the last 5 games, there's just not really a spot for him. I did weigh up putting him in as striker ahead of Michael Roof, but I'm really not a fan of that 8 finishing in an out-and-out striker. I know he can score goals, but in a one-on-one I don't necessarily back Kosic, harsh as that might sound. But you know what? He's not complaining yet. He has signed a new contract at the club. I'm not panicking too much about what we need to do with him in the immediate future. So yeah, team's been doing very well. The other screen that I wanted to take a look at is kind of the squad team report. This is an area that I don't show a great deal, mostly because for me personally, I feel like the game and my stats assessment doesn't always line up. So, for example, in the best 11 for the team, you can see they have Shvetsov up front, which of course doesn't really work because he's not got a work permit. It's worth noting that the other Russian youngster who didn't have a work permit, Kokolov, has got one now. We were able to offer him a new contract, and £1,800 was the qualifying amount that we needed to offer him to get him a work permit. Annoyingly, with Shvetslov here, he doesn't want to discuss a new contract. I do have the option to apply for a work permit for him, but there's no reason that it would ever be accepted, so I'm not going to waste my appeal. My hope is that maybe some of the MLS interest that's been haunting him for about the last 11 months is going to fade away, and when this interest is gone, we could then offer him a contract which would qualify him. I'm still hopeful. I mean, it would be great to have him because he's considered one of our best players in the best 11, but that saga continues. You can see Sacco and Diawara in the centre of the midfield of the best 11. They, of course, have been competing with Needham and Dazelle. To be fair, in ditching the centre attacking mid, it has solved many, many problems because Diawara and Sacco and Needham and Dazelle are kind of quite interchangeable as a pair. It has unfortunately had the collateral effect of meaning that Nkololo just doesn't play for us. And there are a few other players that are somewhat going to fall victim, I think, to all of this. You can see Nkololo out with an injury anyway. But you've got to look at the immediate first team. Lots of players playing lots of games, but outside of that, there are a few players like Purdue that just haven't really played. James Norris hasn't had too many chances in the first team. I guess Nkololo is perhaps the most notable of the players who haven't played much. But at the same time, you know, the finances aren't a massive issue for us, so I'm not going to worry a great deal. And I feel like it's great. If you went back and watched the last episode, the goals and the assist kind of tallies for many players was very, very barren and quite concerning. With this big influx of goals, suddenly I'm a hell of a lot less worried, and this sea of green just makes me feel very happy, warm and fuzzy inside. Hopefully it's going to continue today. I feel like I'm bigging us up so much and it's all going to horrifically backfire. Anyway, you can see here we have a number of talented young prospects such as Shvetsov, Turnbull, and also Mr. Dessa. Worth mentioning, he is still here. He is joining us officially in under a month's time. He will probably compete with Grant at right back, which will be very, very interesting. You can see a comparison here. I would say that Grant is better, But Mr. Dessa, I mean, he's going to be hopefully following in the footsteps of Smoljo, of Kosic, of Cici. We've had many Croatians come through, and he's the last of the bunch, I guess, to finally join us. I'm quite excited to see what he can achieve. I have been looking for more players like these Croatian free agents that we found, where the game generates players not at a club, but they still get called up for the national team, which is how we found them. But since I've added in more new leagues, because previously we just had all of the English leagues loaded, as we've added a few more European leagues, the number of those players that exist that generate as free agents has just shrunk to pretty much zero, which is a bit of a shame, because I do find it quite fun, the idea of plucking a player out of nowhere, the idea that you could have an academy or something and there's just, these undiscovered gems, the Jamie Vardys of this world, I guess, that just kind of appear from the depths of nothingness and you make something of. But if this is going to be the last guy of that bunch, he looks very, very good, and I'm very, very excited to have him in the first team. He's going to be top drawer, I hope, for many years to come. But yeah, we can have a look at the assistant report here. Again, you can see the best 11, loads of wage budget, loads of transfer budget. In terms of concerns, apparently our off-the-ball work rate and a load of these are goalkeeping things, which I think is down to the fact that we have Smoljo and Fernandez, who are two good goalies, and the rest of the keepers in our team are all youth players, which drags down the average, which makes these more of a concern. I guess you could still look at work rate and off-the-ball as concerns, but besides that, I'm not overly worried. Obviously, Molyneux's been in great form as well. It really can't be understated. This guy could be in the running for signing of the year. We signed him for £71,000 from Wolverhampton Wanderers. His contract was up at the end of last year, but I wanted to beat other teams to him, so I had to offer a transfer sum rather than risk him becoming a free agent and then getting into a massive bidding war. 10 goals in 17 games, a 7.41 average rating. He's scoring the goals that we need, which is really, really kind of just a massive relief. You can see some of the other strengths here. Not something I look at a great deal, but I mean, we just have star players in many positions. That is the team's general strength at this point, is that when you look at us on paper, compared to many other teams, we have, some really good players. Molyneux and Smoljo considered two of the best players in the league. We don't exactly dominate the media best 11, but we're in a very good spot. Incidentally, you can see here, Sonny Lowe Everton plays for Walsall, who we take on today. He's in the media dream 11 at centre-back. I've not got him fully scouted, so I can't judge him, but he does seem like he's more naturally a centre-attacking mid. I feel like there might be a lack of centre-backs in the league, if that's the best of the bunch. They've also got Santos Klaas here, who is a pretty good striker at 27 years old. We are going to need to be wary of him today. 7 goals in 14 for the season. And, I feel like we put off the inevitable enough. Let's get into this, shall we? So we're taking on Walsall. I've just had a sneezing fit, which I'm going to edit out because I am struggling today. I'm not super sick, but I'm just feeling a bit tickly. I've still been coughing a little bit since my lung infection I had a few weeks ago now. I was told that would be a thing, but it's just not nice, is it? And you guys don't want to hear it, so let's just make sure you don't have to hear it. Right, team for today's game. Smoljo in goal. He's improving still. He's improving a lot still. I want to get him on loan for another year. I don't think I can make the offer yet. I don't know if it's December or January, but there will come a point where we can hopefully try and extend it. The back four picks itself. It's the back four we started the year with. So Grant at right back. Left back, we've got Reyes, who I think has flourished in recent games, has definitely upped his game, as you can just see from the average ratings here. I feel like the switch to 4-4-2 hasn't really exposed us much more defensively. In fact, it's just helped us out a lot more, because in not having a centre attack in mid, the inverted wingers, which obviously previously were inside forwards, they drift in a lot more. There's more space behind the forwards for them to go into that was previously occupied. And that in turn just gives the wing-backs way more space to operate in, and they've definitely felt the benefits. You can see Hugo and Williamson, they've got a little line between them. They're starting to develop something special. It's like blind date, isn't it? We've got Hugo, the 24-year-old Portuguese hunk. And alongside him, we've got the young Northern Irish lad who's good with either foot. It's Robbie Williamson. I mean, I've really sold these two as a pair, haven't I? But Williamson has really just been a bit of a surprise. I know a lot of people were questioning my logic with going with him and, not entirely sure how good he was going to be. I feel like so far he's very much done a job for us in this team. Anyway, I'm not going to go with the best 11 according to my assistant and go with Sacco and Diawara in the centre of the midfield. Instead, we're going to go with the tried and tested. It's going to be Needham alongside Dazelle. I am playing Needham as a box-to-box midfielder rather than a centre mid on support, which is what our 4-4-2 system used to use. So that's the only minor tweak that I've done, in implementing this system. In the wide areas, we're going to go with DKM and Shuttleworth simply because they're on red-hot form. That does mean that Kosic is going to sit on the bench and maybe have to be an impact player, but that's a pretty good role for him to be in. Up top, we're going to go with Molyneux, who I've already talked about his form. But alongside him, Michael Roofe definitely deserves a little mention. He's only got 3 goals, bless him, but he really has stepped it up in recent games. In his last appearance, a goal and an assist against Gillingham, 2 goals against Gillingham as well in the FA Cup. Yes, it's against lesser opposition, but I do feel like he is working quite nicely alongside Molyneux, and it'll be interesting to see if that recent cup form can translate into the league here. So Walsall, they're big, they're scary, but a win here would make me feel like we are the real deal. Like this is the right decision to go to the 4-4-2. It's a system, obviously, that we had a lot of success with. The logic behind switching from it made sense at the time, but with just how good we are and the great attacking options we have, I feel like Molyneux and Roofe up front are as good as any other strike partnership in the league. And rather than be put in a situation where, we maybe are trying to shoehorn in a centre attacking mid who isn't really performing, I'd much rather play 2 strikers and hope that they can score the kind of goals they have been. It's interesting. I feel like the centre attacking mid position is a position that we never really solved with the 4-2-3-1. We never really got the most out of it compared to when we played with 2 strikers, other than defensively. But as we've learnt in League One, that's not really been the case. Anyway, Low Everton, bringing it forward, and we've conceded. That's annoying. It's Clace with the assist. Low Everton, the league's best centre-back, with the run into the final third, of course. Worth noting that with this 4-4-2, we are going to be playing a little bit more direct. We're going to be having less of the ball, less possession, but possession doesn't win you football matches. Goals win you football matches, and we were struggling to get them. But we are struggling to keep them out still with a 4-4-2, but I back us to get at least 1 goal in this game. We have to win a game eventually in a live com this season. I won't have it any other way. If it gets to the last 10 games of the year, I'll live com every single one until we get a win. Or inevitably just pick one of the lower league teams. Because we've drawn 2, we've lost 1, but every single game has been against a team at the top of the table. And we've kind of dispatched of the weaker teams very well, but against teams of a similar ilk to ours, a similar strength to ours, we've not been overly convincing. We've not been the giant killers. We've been very consistent. We're not one of those teams who beat all the teams around us, then slip up against the teams in the relegation zone. It's kind of been the opposite. Anyway, Molyneux drifting inside here on his left foot. That is why he's got 12 for the season. What a finish that is. Shuttleworth with another assist out on the right-hand side. Kosic is on the bench with a tear in his eye, wondering how the hell he's ever going to get back into this team. I think that might be Shuttleworth's 10th assist of the year. I mean, it's a good assist, but it's all about the finish and the run, really, by Molyneux. Back in this game, and when you look at the overall stats, maybe a tiny bit fortunate in terms of goals, but it's been an even game in this first half thus far. And obviously, it's great to see us craft out an opportunity there and draw even before half-time. That said, still going to get shouty, and I think I might even make a change. Roofe has not played well in the first half. We've got Sayer, who we could bring in. If I just start the second half here, so we can actually view Sayer's profile. We've got Sayer on the bench, and he's not wowed me. Do I want to try Kosic as a striker? Is that mental? The other option we have is to bring in Michael Jacobs and play him as a striker, but he has a similar issue, really, with the 8 finishing. You know what? I'm going to bring in Kosic for Roofe. This may be a disaster. It may be a stroke of genius. It's uncharted territory. It's never been done before in the history of mankind, so why not do it now and see if it works? There's no such thing as a stupid idea, just an optimistic and maybe over-optimistic idea. But I think Kosic can do it. He gets goals for us, but he certainly wouldn't be a player I would stare at and go, poacher. I can't just label him with that, because I'm not convinced he's got it. But maybe he can prove me wrong. There's not really a striking role I'd want to play a player in with 8 finishing. That's kind of the issue. Great tackle by Reyes, by the way. Falls to DKM kindly, who I think he was trying to thread through Molyneux, but they were on very different wavelengths than those two. You can see, though, with the way that DKM cut in there as an inverted winger, just how much more space that both him and Shuttleworth have to drop into. What a ball by Shuttleworth to Molyneux. Has to finish that. Absolutely has to finish that. What an opportunity. What a ball by Shuttleworth once more. out on the right side. The finish, though, straight at the keeper. We do have a corner, but we've not been good from set pieces this year. Last year, that was one of our big kind of weapons, our secret weapons, so to say, was the fact that we just made so much from set pieces. That's not been the case this year. Needham's picked up an injury. I've got a dilemma. Do we bring in Sacco or do we bring in Diawara as the box-to-box midfielder? Who would you pick? Choose your fighter. I just want to have a comparison. I would normally go with Sacco, but I never actually just looked at a direct comparison here. It's kind of interesting because Diawara is a bit more technical, I guess, a little bit faster on the ball, but Sacco is more of a physical presence. You know, if you want that brute of a box-to-box midfielder, he may well be your man. I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Diawara and I'm going to change him to be an advanced playmaker on support. Just try the double playmaker. Again, uncharted territory. Why not do it in the game against the team who are second in the league? Sometimes you've got to experiment. Perhaps this isn't the ideal time to be experimenting, but let's see what we can do. And of course, Diawara has the set pieces in his locker. He whips it in. Kosic. Now with Williamson. Kosic! I mean, he's a genius. I'm a genius. I don't think we can attribute him playing poacher to him being there, but he is in the right place at the right time, and he's finished it. Vinko Kosic, his 5th goal of the year, been out for 2 months, has struggled to find his feet back in the first team just with how well we've been playing. We find ourselves 2 goals ahead, or 2-1 ahead rather, against Walsall. I know there's people going to be screaming now, Jack, go defensive. No, that's not the Towler way. Maybe if we were down a man and I was really desperate, but we're not really desperate. I want us to go for blood. I want us to get a 3rd goal. I don't want to scrape a win for our first win in a live com this year. I want to get another... Oh, please don't do this, Walsall. I can't have another draw. We've had too many draws this year. 1-1 against Ebbsfleet, 2-2 against York, 2-1 against Bradford. That was a defeat. They're on the attack. Santo Class again. Whips it in. Oh my gosh, what is happening? I don't know why their attacker has passed it. I don't know why Smolio hasn't held on to it. The good news is it's away from our goal. There's 6 minutes of added time. Just blow. 3.5 minutes. Reyes whips it in. Headed away to Shuttleworth. Lay it inside to Dazelle to hit it. Give it to Dazelle. He can shoot from there and score it. Have a go, my friend. Have a go, my friend. He passes it to Kosic. 8 finishing. Gives it to Molyneux. Diawara. Kosic, can he get there? No, he can't. For a second, I thought he was going to use that turn of pace and nip in there ahead of the keeper and take it round him. Turned out to be wishful thinking, and while the highlight might not be over, they could be on the attack. The ball over Reyes is now facing his own goal. Gives it to Williamson, who lumps it clear. That'll do me. Kosic now. Back to Dazelle. Lovely build-up play. Can we discuss this? This is sexy. Molyneux finished that. That is such a good goal. That's why we stayed on attacking. 3-1. If I'd gone defensive and then it had gone to 2-2, I'd cry. I'd rather die on the hill that is called playing attacking football than die on the hill of failed of parking the bus. But what a great move that was. The fluidity of the team. Diawara, breaking through. Kosic dropping deep. And we just pulled them all over the place. I mean, where is their back line there? There is not a back line there. It is a rabble. And we've made it into a rabble. And it's going to probably finish 3-1 here. Although 50 seconds left. Another highlight. We want 4. But 3 goals in a live com. We've had... It's been a weird trend here at Towler. We've had a lot of draws and a lot of low-scoring games in live coms. But the 4-4-2 seems to be changing. Smolio, why are you stood in your own goal, you wazzock? That is... Smolio's improved a lot in training. I have this weird observational thing, and it's probably not the case, but it feels like it's the case. He's gradually got worse for us as he's got better. Molyneux brings it forward, whips it in, back post. A few players queuing up, but I think that is going to be the last bit of action. 3-1 though, what a result that is. A needed result as well. We created way more, I want to say way more clear-cut and half chances. It's not a crazy amount more, but more nevertheless. Could we get one more? Diawara tries to get it to the back post. They'll get it clear. There's ref, you can blow now. Where's our defence? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Smolio, great save, but just blow now, ref. We played an extra minute. Can someone check the ref's clock, please? There we go. Doesn't even let them take the corner. It finishes 3-1 here. That is a needed result. I feel relieved now because there was a bit of a monkey on my back, I feel like, about the lack of a win in a live com. To beat the team in second is huge, especially away from home. They've been a very good team at Walsall. That's only their 3rd defeat of the year. So they are a good team. A win there puts us, well, joint top of the league with Bradford and Oxford, but with a game in hand. And given our recent form, I feel like we really should just be continuing to push onwards and upwards. You can see Molyneux, 2 goals to his name. Really reaffirming that analysis that we had before the match, that he is the best player in our team. He has been the best signing we've made. Actually, I want to check. How does Turnbull compare with Molyneux, and how does Turnbull compare with Shvetsov? Hopefully the under-23s is going to load here, because I've been looking at Shvetsov for so long, and I wonder if Turnbull actually is starting to get close to him. So if we just look at Molyneux and Turnbull, I mean, they are slightly kind of different classes apart, but at the same time, maybe they could match one another. They could definitely be a strike partnership in the future. I can see it now. I'd ship them together. The other player I want to just compare him with is Shvetsov. I feel like I don't compare my players nearly enough to one another. I mean, he's not a world away from Shvetsov, considering he's 2 years younger. Very, very interesting. Andre, please sign a new contract. That would help me a ton. That would give me another attacking option. But, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've turned a corner now. I'm feeling very confident and very good. DKM's banging them in for fun. Kosic and Shuttleworth doing their thing as well. We've gone from kind of last episode me panicking to me now thinking, yeah, the 4-4-2 is going to work. Although I have just noticed that Hugo and Williamson are suspended at centre-back for my next match against Fleetwood. Which is interesting, actually, because the centre-back position, if you were wondering, I've not really decided what my second-choice centre-backs are. The obvious kind of, I guess, candidate would be Zach Gannon. But to be honest, he's not improved a great deal, and we've had some really exciting players come through. One player who I've talked about a lot, and I'm very excited about, is Vasily. I think he could be really, really solid. He was signed from Crewe Alexandra this year for £100,000 at 17 years old, a big investment. He's already improved quite a lot, and he recently took up English nationality because he said that he thought he was good enough to play for England, which I absolutely rate, by the way. That is such a good attitude to have. You can see he's played 2 games for us, not played particularly well in them. But behind him, we've got so many options at centre-back. We've got Jimmy Morrison, who's not even in the first team. I just don't like his lack of aerial ability. I've got him focusing on his heading in the hope it'll improve. But there's not a great deal of difference between, say, him and Vasily. I'd personally say Vasily's better. But then we've also got players like Wayne Hall, who can play centre-back. Gannon, we've already talked about. Colin Smart as well. We're oddly blessed in the centre-back department, although there is a common thread that they all can't head a ball. Can I get a heading coach? Is that a thing? I guess the year is 2027, so none of these players were allowed to head the ball playing junior level football in England. It's the only logical explanation. But anyway, I've rambled on for long enough today. I'm so relieved about that result. I'm really happy that the 4-4-2 appears to be working. In terms of when we'll be back, we have got Oxford in mid-December. And we have also got that Birmingham game. I might do a slightly unusual live com double header where we do that game against Oxford and then come back for the game against Birmingham. And then just, ignore Luton and Ebbsfleet and Shrewsbury, Ipswich and Fleetwood. No disrespect to any of those teams, but I feel like those are the 2 games that stick out. If not, we may come back. I mean, I'm not going to be coming back any later. Yeah, I'm talking myself into it. I think we'll do those games as a live com double header. I hope to see you guys for them both. I know you've been wanting a live com double for a while. We'll bring it your way tomorrow. If you've somehow got to the end of this, I know most people just turn off when I finish the match. Thank you for continuing with me. I always like going into extra little bits of details, and sometimes stuff just pops into my head at the end of matches that I feel like I should have covered sooner, as has been the case today. But anyway, guys, have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. It's me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.